Hey, my name is John, and I hope you're doing well today. And today I want to talk about something that I think likely everyone has gone through at some point during their life, that being feeling dissatisfied. Whether it's about a job, love, or just a general feeling of things not going the way you had hoped, it's one of the likely most common forms of frustration that's felt by everybody. And for me, this feeling has, as of late, once again slowly but surely been creeping up on me. So, a couple months ago, I moved to a new city, pretty far away from both my family and friends, for a job opportunity that sounded and still is great on paper, both in terms of the compensation, but also for my future career prospects. So far, it's been going pretty well, but not to say there hasn't been a few rough patches of having been forced to uproot my life, but overall, I would say there hasn't been anything resoundingly negative about it. And putting in the context in a vacuum, very few people would say anything truly negative and tell me instead to just shut up and be thankful to be lucky enough to be in this situation in the first place. Of which I firmly agree. Though great at first, I've been feeling that there's still more to be explored and that I wasn't completely satisfied with the life I've had up until now. After all, the world is infinitely more massive than I can even begin to describe, and who's to say that I can't dream for more? Rather, the problem wasn't that I dreamt for more. After all, I think that's part of the reason why I work hard to get where I am today, but rather feeling dissatisfied with where I am currently. Even when I put some serious thought into it, I had few, if any, good reasons. The funny thing is, if it was just a one-time thing, I might have not put any serious thought into it. But for me, and likely you as well, it's a feeling of deja vu. A cycle of feeling good about something new, slowly being accustomed to it, followed up by dissatisfaction and wanting more. It was the same when I went to uni, when I got my first internship, when I found a full-time job, and now this. So I wanted to think about what's causing me to feel so dissatisfied in the first place, and why all of this seems so cyclical in nature. Of course, this varies from person to person, but for me, dissatisfaction comes from when two things align: being reminded that you don't have what you want, and not being reminded of what you can be grateful for. The first is the one that almost everyone thinks of when they think of being dissatisfied. After all, the adage of just get off social media is primarily driven because of this. To no one's real fault, you might just be casually wanting to browse YouTube or Instagram, or even more realistically, just checking up on what your friends are up to. And nobody in their right mind wants to portray their average life online, so seeing the glitz and glamour of what your friends might be up to, or conversely how great of a job they might have on LinkedIn, is just a reminder of what you don't have. And that, well, need I say anymore, is the core of dissatisfaction, knowing that you can get more, and maybe even the feeling of that you need to get more. The second and less overlooked aspect is not being reminded of what we should be thankful for. In part of because of how often we compare ourselves to others, there's less of a focus on being grateful for what we do have, and being satisfied with not everything, but at least some of the things that we do have. Whether that would be stable employment in a season of downturns, friends and families when others have few, or a healthy body when others are less fortunate. And it could do wonders to remind ourselves every now and then how it's not always so bad. But it's important to strike a balance. After all, ambition is useful, and being unsatisfied with where we are is a key motivator. It's all about finding out what works for everyone, and especially yourselves, and where to draw the mental line in the sand. After all, being satisfied with anything means that we achieve nothing. And on the other extreme, being dissatisfied all the time leads to only misery, even with the best of circumstances. So I want to ask you, are you currently feeling dissatisfied? And if so, why? Could it be that you're not at a point in your career? Could it be that you're feeling like you're not hitting a certain goal you set out for yourself? Or just a combination of the small things that add up into one big ball of dissatisfaction? Whatever it is, I encourage you to think hard about not only what can be better, but what you should also be grateful for right now. And hopefully, you'll be feeling a little less dissatisfied afterwards. So, as always, thanks for watching. Until next time.